Welcome to Bath, a World Heritage City and site of the Jane Austen Festival. A popular event attracting over 800 costumed visitors to the city in September each year. It was the Romans that discovered a naturally occurring thermal spring here and built a city around it. The site was already sacred to the native Celts to worship the goddess Sulis, a goddess of fertility. The Romans embraced this and named their new city Aquae Sulis Minerva, Minerva being a Roman goddess of wisdom. This was a sign of great respect towards the British people who were welcomed to the sacred thermal spring throughout the Roman occupation. The original Roman baths were lost during early medieval times, but by the Elizabethan era, the thermal spring waters were once again seen as beneficial to health. Bath slowly began to grow in popularity as a place to visit to take the waters. King George III made drinking healing waters popular, and here at the Pump House is where those waters were brought up from the spring. And Bath quickly became a popular place for the fashionable in society to live and socialise. With war on the continent, the wealthy in society turned to British spa towns as a safe and fashionable place to be entertained. An opportunity to display their wealth and good taste, whilst networking with other families in the hope of climbing the social ladder. Many grand palladian-style homes were built to house the influx of society. Inspired by the classical architecture of ancient Greece and Rome, elegant palladian styles dominated the 18th century. Typified by symmetry, columns and porticos. Probably Bath's most famous resident was the renowned novelist Jane Austen, who lived in this house. The early 19th century was a time when a young woman's utmost goal was to marry well. This is portrayed with wit and skill by Jane Austen, one of the world's most beloved and influential authors. The Prince of Wales's regency from 1811 to 1817 coincides with Jane's publication period. She published 4 of her well-known novels anonymously: Sense and Sensibility, Pride and Prejudice, Emma and Mansfield Park. It was only after her death that her brother Henry revealed that she was the author. As somebody who appreciated fashion, the first thing Jane did when she arrived in Bath was to order a new gown and hat. Neoclassical styles were the height of fashion when Jane was in Bath. High waists, light fabrics, heaving bosoms and Spencer jackets, bonnets with ribbons and dainty parasols. All would have been available to buy or order from many shops in the town. Jane was not from a very wealthy family. However, they were well connected and she did attend some society events. Jane lived in this house for 4 years with her mother, father and sister. This is where she wrote 2 of her published novels, Persuasion and Northanger Abbey. Opposite Jane's house at number 4 Sydney Place was the Sydney House Hotel, a grand modern building that housed extravagant balls. The pleasure gardens at Sydney House were called the Sydney Gardens Vauxhall, after the famous pleasure gardens in London. These gardens were adored by Jane, who spent many hours watching people around her, enjoying the tranquility away from the bustle of the city. These gardens would have been accessible to anybody who paid the annual subscription, and live music was played every day. A place for ladies to display their fashionable gowns and perhaps catch the eye of an eligible young man. A popular snack during the Regency times would have been the Bath bun, a buttery pastry that Jane herself wrote about in her diary. Bath is a beautiful place to visit, and a trip here can take you back in time. I certainly share Jane's sentiments for her character Catherine Morland in Northanger Abbey.
They arrived at Bath. Catherine was all eager delight. Her eyes were here, there, everywhere, as they approached its fine and striking environs, and afterwards drove through those streets which conducted them to the hotel. She was come to be happy, and she felt happy already.